Hi, welcome to Jewish the Podcast. My name is Nikki, and I'm the host. I decided to create this podcast after the name came to me one night because the best things always happen at 3 a.m., at least to me. It's probably an ADD thing, but I always wake up at 3 a.m. with random ideas, and this was no different. I just thought of this, and I originally was going to make like a sort of cartoon show, but then decided this might be a better podcast. So here we are. So anyway, I realized that being Jewish is confusing in a lot of ways. Especially if, like me, you grew up in a mostly non-religious household, but you are Jewish. I am Jewish. Ethnically, culturally, I am a Jew. But what does that even mean? I mean, I think it's confusing because it's both a religion and an ethnicity. And then there's that whole thing that people can't tell I'm Jewish unless I tell them. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. I was trying to think back and figure out when I knew I was Jewish. And the problem is I have ADHD, so as I mentioned, so my childhood is patchy at best in my mind. But I have a sense that I probably knew pretty early in life because my mom had us celebrating Hanukkah and Passover. I think it was important to her to recognize that aspect of our background. But the problem is that we also celebrated Christmas and Easter because my family is German. Well, they're German Jews, and German Jews tend to be much less religious, but they also believe in celebrating anything involving food and family. At least that's been my experience. So we grew up celebrating everything, but I think I also picked up that we were Jewish because of my family history, because my family is from Germany, but they had to leave because of the Nazis. Anyway, I probably picked up pretty early on that we were Jewish. When I was in 6th grade, my mom enrolled me in a Jewish day school, and then it became obvious I was Jewish, but not Jewish, if you catch my drift. I didn't know Hebrew. I didn't understand the stories in the Old Testament, and at best, I thought they were kind of silly. I didn't know the prayers. I was a heathen by their standards. I stayed there 2 years before transferring to a secular school. And while I don't regret my time there and actually think I learned a lot, I just wasn't Jewish enough to want to stay there either. In high school, I went to an all-girls Catholic high school. And this was by choice because I absolutely loved it. May or may not have had to do with the pretzels with cheese that they had in the cafeteria. It had a lot to do with that. But anyway, half of the school wasn't even Catholic, so I soon found a nice group of Jewish girls to hang out with. I'm just kidding. I hung out with anyone and everyone. But all of us Jews, we did know each other. Like, we knew, oh, you're Jewish, you're whatever. But I would say the main thing about going to a Catholic school as a Jew is that A, it was my job to educate the religion teachers about Judaism, the little I knew, and B, going to Mass was incredibly awkward and really boring, but I had to go. I was in the choir, so we didn't have a choice. It was brutal because it was always before lunch and you'd be starving, and God, sorry, I hope that's not like bad to say, but anyway, I wanted a Jesus cracker. I didn't know what they were called, so I just called them Jesus crackers. But I was informed quickly that I couldn't have one, much less touch one, because I would ruin them all. I still don't remember why that's a thing, but it is. But I think the only incident that really stands out in my head is when I told a classmate I was Jewish, and she said, "You are? Where are your horns?" Why is that so hard to say? Where are your horns? I was kind of shocked, and I said, "What horns?" She was from Minnesota and had literally never met a single Jew in her life. It was such a weird experience. I should add, I grew up in LA, Los Angeles, in a neighborhood of Jews and everyone else. And so I literally knew nothing about being different. As much as she never met a Jew in her life, I was like the complete opposite, where I just didn't realize that was weird or not normal. We moved to Portland when I was around 9, and that was really my first exposure, well, all of our first exposure to the fact that being Jewish made us a minority. I'm guessing that was at least part of the reason my mom enrolled me in a Jewish middle school. She wanted me to find community in this new place, and I'm trying to think, I guess, a few of my friends told me, when I told them that I was Jewish, you don't look Jewish. And I had no clue what that meant. When I looked in the mirror, I saw a Jew, so surely they saw that too. Anyway, life was mostly uneventful. I went to college, and being in college, there were many Jews. Junior year, I met a freshman, and we were friends, and she was Hawaiian, and she asked me where my Jew gold was. And I had no freaking idea what she was talking about, but I was like, Jew gold, that sounds pretty cool. But I found out quickly that was from South Park. However, she had asked me seriously, as though actually expecting me to have a stash somewhere. By the way, if anyone knows where that is, I'd love to know, because I know nothing about Jew gold. I think I started this podcast because I've been thinking so much lately about what it means to be Jewish. Not only as a sort of, all these moments leading up to now have made me who I am kind of thing, but also to explore it myself, because I don't really know. I'm not religious at all. I'm pretty much atheist. But I also feel such a strong connection to my background. I wouldn't be here if my family were not Jewish, because they would still be in Germany. But in America, does it even matter? Nobody can tell I'm Jewish. I'm pale, I'm pasty, I have green eyes, but my hair is very dark brown and curly. However, I don't have a sign on my forehead or a yellow star on my chest, so it's really not obvious. In some ways, that's lucky. Unlike someone of color, I can hide, I can fit in. Nobody knows anything about me based on my outward appearance. In other ways, it feels like I'm invisible sometimes. It's a lot like ADHD. I was playing trivia the other night with my husband, who is not Jewish, and this bonus question popped up. Our bonus question in trivia is a question at the end of the round where you can win a small prize or whatever. Sometimes you don't, but at this particular venue, you do. Let me preface this by saying I would not have known this answer if it were not for Game Grumps, because Dan Avidan is Jewish, and they did an episode about the dreidel game. And it was then that I learned how to play the dreidel game. During the episode, Dan kept saying, hey, whenever they got a hey. Oh, and it's because of that episode I was able to teach my nieces how to play the dreidel game over Christmas. And we had a dreidel set because I dragged my husband to latke dinner at a local Ukrainian Jewish restaurant, because latkes are the best thing ever, and there's nothing more Jewish than food. Anyway, so we're playing trivia. We get to the bonus round, and it's about dreidels, and specifically about hey. And my husband is like, don't answer, because we don't need any more coupons for free pretzels. First of all, when have I ever refused anything free, much less free food? But also, it's clear to me that I was the only Jew present. Don't ask me how I know this, I just did. I call it Judar. So I answered the question and we won because we were the only team that answered, as I suspected. And I was proud and embarrassed and sad and everything. But to me, that's what being Jewish is. It's knowing the answer to a trivia question. It's being proud, embarrassed, sad, and everything. And so I hope you'll join me on this journey of discovering what being Jewish is and what it means. I put ish in parentheses because that's how it feels to me. I'm Jew-ish. I often feel less than or not like a good Jew because I don't celebrate the holidays for the most part. I'm Jewish, but I'm also not. And it's confusing and weird, and I want to explore it. So welcome to Jew-ish. Or I guess I should say Shalom.